Oh no. You are absolutely... It's time to pay off all of the hours of work I put into renovating my workshop. I'm now able to start messing around in the games room. Welcome to the channel, I'm Jay, and in this video we're going to be looking at some of the changes I'm making to the games room now that I've created all this extra space, as well as showing you what the room looks like post-change and how the workshop now looks, because I know that some of you are interested in that final reveal. I'm going to start off though by talking you through some of the changes I'm going to make in here today, which means introducing and perhaps I'm onboarding myself, let's say, into the game collectors community by buying my first Billy bookcase. I've got two coming actually from IKEA later today, which we're going to be putting in here. So the first task, as I'll explain in a second, is to make some space for these new bookcases, and then we can show you how that's going to transform the space. And then at the end, you'll see how it's transformed the space if I get my editing right. So let's get stuck into the video, and let's start with a little walk around what these changes are going to look like. So this is the space that we're going to be addressing today with the Billy bookcase. Now, for those who have seen the video tour that I did at the start of the year, you'll remember that down here there used to be an 8-cube IKEA unit which had some of my Edge magazines in, a variety of my handheld consoles on, and had been kind of what was sat behind me when I used to kind of sit in this area and game. My gaming setup is kind of over here. The plan was to put a sofa in here, and I decided as I kind of reviewed the space that, to be honest, it's just not really going to fit in this area in the way that I would like. It's going to feel cramped. So instead, what I'm going for, and this is why there's this kind of beanbag in here at the moment, I'm going to go for a beanbag sofa. You'll see that later in the video. It hasn't yet been ordered, and it therefore hasn't arrived either for me to assemble it, but I will capture all of that when it comes. But the aim is that that sofa will fill this kind of void on the floor, probably come out about as far as this carpet. But what we want to do is have a bit of a move around here in order to accommodate and better use this wall space. So the intention is to take off this unit, this shelf, that's going to move into the workshop in order to have a small TV on it for using in the workshop. This cube unit is going to come off, and ideally, if everything goes to plan, I'm going to move it into this kind of space here, creating another little kind of set of boxes. And then all of this Metal Gear Solid stuff temporarily will come off, including the pictures off the wall. And what I'm hoping is that the Billy bookcase, which if I'll just turn a step back, I'm going to get two of the standard width bookcases, so they're going to go kind of there and then there. There might be some tinkering to do with those two shelves as well. The intention is to fill that space, replant all the Metal Gear Solid stuff across the Billy bookcases, so that all that stuff is still here, and then bring down from up here some of my games, because at the moment all of my physical games, or for the most part at least, are trapped up there, or they're in cupboards, just like this one. You can see there a variety of games tucked away, and I really want those out on display. I want to be able to see them. I want them in the room. So the intention is bookcases on the wall, which we will get and build, Metal Gear Solid put back onto the wall. We've got this little fridge down here which will stay there, hopefully, all being well. There's going to be a new beanbag chair to come here, and this one will disappear. And that will be the room transformation. So we'll see how we get on. The next thing you're going to see will be a time lapse of me taking all of this down, and as you can see, I'm really not looking forward to moving all of this. There's a lot of very small, easily breakable, and just large volume things to remove. And I need to move them all in such a way that I've got space to still operate in here and also build bookcases. So that's the job. Like I said, the next thing you'll see will be a time lapse of that, and then we'll come back and have a chat once the bookcases are in and built.
A few moments later.
Okay, being the incredible YouTuber that I am, I completely forgot to record the footage I planned to record walking around IKEA. It wasn't going to be anything fancy. It was just going to be me, POV, pottering through the store, picking the bits up, shoving them in the van. I took my daughter with me, and I ended up just having a few random chats with her, which I much prefer. So apologies. I fast forwarded not only through the trip to IKEA, but I also thought, who wants to watch me build a Billy bookcase twice? So I built 2 Billy bookcases, and they're now in place. So you can see there's bare bones, absolute sort of skeleton. But it's all fitting quite well. Sorry, my shelves are trying to fall over behind me. It's all a bit of a mess in here at the moment. So really happy with the way they look. I think they're going to make for an excellent little backdrop. These, I'm not so keen on being kind of shoved up here. I had to just adjust the shelves ever slightly. You'll see that this is not flush, and unfortunately that is because the floor of this room slopes away ever so slightly. It's not as flat as it should be. So trying to get things level is an absolute nightmare, as you can see down the side here. Now, it's not horrendous, but I can see it, and it's typically right in the doorway as you walk into the room. So that's the hard bit done, getting them in here built. They're heavy. Billy bookcases are heavy, man. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to start putting the stuff back on. Now, I haven't put the shelves on yet, because what I want to do is get the Metal Gear Solid kind of middle done, which will be a nice display height to carry that on, and basically reinitiate it from where it was before, and hopefully then what I can do is place the shelves around it at varying heights to support the different game boxes that I'm going to put in there, of which I haven't quite decided how I'm going to do that yet. I don't know how much will be sort of front facing on display, how much of it's just going to be kind of library format. We'll work that out as we go. That is the fun. So I'm going to switch up to some more comfortable lighting. I'm going to put the office lights on, have some LEDs on the go. And I think what I'll do then is just put some YouTube on or something and just chill out. I'll pop a camera up for a time lapse just so you can see it kind of coming together. But this is just for me really to have a bit of fun and a bit of a chill. And yeah, populate this now. It's the fun bit, isn't it? That was the hard work done. I also picked up, while I was at IKEA, a couple of shelves from their reduced section. They got a couple of these kind of, it's like these I've got up here with the spray paints on these. I think they're like bookshelves, they're meant to be. I'm going to take all of those cans off, and they'll all move into the workshop, and then I can use that to display I don't know what. But yeah, I got 2 of those. So one in like a dark, an oak colour, and one of them was like a blackish grey. So they'll look perfectly fine in there, and will provide some nice storage. And they were super cheap because they were reduced, and they were already IKEA prices. So let's crack on with organising the shelves, and then I'll touch base with you when it's done. I'll probably record a little bit to camera tomorrow morning, but I'll capture the process of assembling all this so you can see it. Enjoy.
Hi Jay, so I've heard you've decided to join the White Billy Bookcase gang, and I must say it's a great idea. Firstly, they're light and really easy to get moved about. And so small, they fit so easily into a family-sized car. They come ready built, so there's no messing around with pesky screws or any other messing about whatsoever. And because there's so many different versions, there's no way you'll change your mind and discard perfectly good old ones. And best of all, there's hardly anybody that uses them, so they're completely unique to you. Solid choice, Jay. Solid choice.
I'm sweating now. So that took about an hour, and you can see kind of what that now looks like behind me. I'll do some B-roll over the top while I'm talking. Pretty happy so far. I haven't got absolutely everything out that I'd intended or hoped. Anyone who's built a Billy bookcase before, who knows what they're doing or has watched other people, I forgot this, will know that they never come with enough shelves for game collecting. So I've got two big voids down there, currently housing my DJ Hero Special Edition box thing. There's more to put away. I would have liked to have had more of the games out. I've got things like my Sega Saturn games, some GameCube games, some Wii, Wii U, DS, a few Nintendo bits and pieces, some original Xbox I haven't got out either. Well, I'm not too worried about that, and a bit of Dreamcast. So there's nothing mega that hasn't come out. I don't have huge collections, or I think when I put it all out on a shelf like this, and then I compare this to kind of full-on hardcore retro collectors that I see on YouTube, I realise I don't have much of a collection at all, really. I mean, I'm very happy with it, but in terms of volume, it's not actually as bad as I thought it was. But I tried to pick out some of my favourite covers. I've obviously kind of kept the Metal Gear Solid piece across the middle. This is all no doubt going to change. I've got a little bit of space up there to put some of the boxes, might move some things around from up here. I want to live with it for a little bit now. Just kind of be in here, see how the space feels. It's a very dominant wall now. I mean, this whole area is quite dominating, to be honest. It's quite on top of you. And I've got to try and get a beanbag sofa down here, which is going to take up quite a bit of space as well. This one will obviously go. But I think it's going to be all right. It's going to be cozy, but that's what I want. You know, I want it to be a space that I can come, the kids can come, and we can just enjoy games from all generations. And yeah, increasingly I've got all generations of games out. So as I said, I will do a proper sweep round when I've had a few days just to breathe and live with it. I'm going to get the beanbag sofa in. That's got to get ordered and delivered, and obviously then I'll do a little bit more footage then. I'm sure at that point I'll have evolved this a little bit more. I'll show you what I'm kind of not currently showing you behind the camera in terms of what the other end looks like. So yeah, I'm genuinely happy. I think this is looking really good. Love your comments and thoughts. You know, do you like what I've done here? Anything you do differently? Any questions about anything? I don't think I've got anything particularly out of the ordinary. My Metal Gear Solid collection is probably the most eclectic. Everything else is pretty vanilla. But you know, let me know your thoughts. But there'll be more to come, so I'm going to leave it there for now. Have a little sit in here, watch a little bit of TV, and just soak it in, because I'm really pleased with it. So yeah, I'll keep you posted.
Several days later.
Okay, it's been a couple of days since my last clip was shot, which was me filling all of this, and I'm really pleased. My big, I'm going to call it my sofa. It's not a sofa, it's a beanbag sofa, which is in these two big boxes, has now turned up. I am going to be attempting to fill them up. It might be a two-person job, so I might have to call on my good wife to come and assist me. But this beanbag is effectively a two-seater beanbag. It's probably a cozy two-seater from what I've seen in terms of pictures online, and it's going to kind of fill the space just in front of me here and be my new comfy gaming, TV watching, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, really excited to get started. We'll see how we get on. I will probably just, you know, kind of time lapse or speed this up to spare you the boredom, and then that'll be everything I plan to do with the room for now. That'll be this iteration done. So we'll do a bit of a sweep round then, and I'll show you it in more detail. So let's get stuck into this process. Just gonna make a mess. Oh no. Oh my god. Oh my god. how exactly. Oh. Do I attach this? Oh no. You are absolutely... It's a double engine. Why? 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 No. You ah! So the bag is double-ended. Didn't make that clear on the instructions, so I've just poured it all in one end and it's just all together, and it's all over my floor. So that's cool. So we're gonna have to transpose to this one and then do it all over again. Not the easiest process, I have to say. Oh my God. Oh my God. Look at the absolute mess that this stuff has made. So how well that's coming across on camera. But these foam bits are absolutely everywhere. I may have done a few bits wrong there along the way, but I'm not taking all the blame. So I am going to quickly hoover this up, and then I'll show you what it all looks like when I've tested it and settled in.
Several days later.
Well, it's been a couple of days and I am really pleased with the room. I haven't had a chance to spend as much time in here as I would probably otherwise like. Just busy, another week at work, a lot of travel. But every time I come in and out the room, I love how it's looking. Splitting the room has made a massive difference to kind of how the flow of the room feels. It does feel smaller now, ironically, given that I thought by moving that workbench I was going to create loads of extra space. But what I've done is created effectively 3 different rooms now. So there's the workshop for crafting, model making, painting, messy stuff. And I'll show you that in a minute. There's now this room, which is basically divided into 2. There's this end, which is kind of my gaming space, and is now surrounded by these cabinets and all the stuff that you've seen me do. And then the other end is kind of the working end. That's where my desk is. It's where I spend my time when I'm remote working. So I'm really pleased with it. I'll take you around and show you some of the bits and pieces that I think you'll find interesting. First of all, the beanbag sofa is a really interesting one. It's a nice compact size, certainly better than having a full-blown sofa in here. It is a little shallow for someone with an arse my size, to be brutally honest. I could do with it being a little bit deeper, but because it's so low to the ground, and I have got like a little beanbag footstool that I can put kind of in front of me, I can sit up and be quite comfortable. It's nice and easy to lounge on. Comfortable if it's 2 adults, which is good. So I was a bit worried about it being a little bit cozy if I did have any of my mates over. For me and the kids and me and my other half, which is what it's primarily intended for, it fits the bill nicely. Onto the billies. So, you know, thank you first of all to Callum from the Retro Ghetto for that fun little cameo. If you haven't already been over to his channel, I'm sure you have. If you're here, you must know of him. Then I'll leave a link down below for you to go and check out the stuff that he does. He's got an incredible games room, and is arguably a significantly better YouTuber than me from a video consistency point of view and the way he shoots and edits. So thank you again, Callum, for that. In terms of my billies, I am really pleased with kind of how they're looking. I do think I'm going to go back and curate the games a little bit more closely. I just dumped basically all of the games from each console onto the shelf, and that was it. That was me done. That meant that I left quite a few games in cases still, so I haven't got any of my Dreamcast, Sega Saturn, Mega Drive, none of my Wii U, some of the other Nintendo stuff as well is still in boxes. And to be honest, I've probably filled some shelves here with quite a bit of crap or filler, games that I'm not going to play regularly. Now, this isn't about displaying my entire collection. I don't have enough room for that. What I wanted the Billy bookcase to be was kind of the library of the things that I think I'll play most often, either games that I haven't yet started that I'm really keen to, or games that I want to play, semi-regularly. So there's probably games in there that over time I'll go through and get rid of, and just sift out and leave some of the best ones on the shelf. There's a few games in here that I just want in my collection or that I've picked up because they were cheap and I'm not too fussed about playing. So they might get swapped out in order to bring a more varied selection of games to the shelf. Across the top, I've managed to position some of my nicer box pieces, some retro bits and pieces up there as well. So there's the SNES game converter in box, which I think is fun. An old N64 Passport Plus, which was mine from my youth. And that was basically a similar concept to the game converter. It was to allow you to play foreign games on an N64. And I bought that basically because we accidentally, while on holiday in America, from Toys R Us bought Mario Party in our youth without knowing this was going to be a problem, and got home and it didn't work. So we had to buy this Passport Plus to fix that problem. I've got my box protected Game Boy, Super Game Boy, my box protected Mario Paint, and then I've also got my Baldur's Gate PS5 Collector's Edition up there. Not many of those around, and I'm really pleased to have it. It doesn't fit the shelf heights that I think I've set for myself, certainly not the PS5 one. So it's up there for now, but we might find another home for that at some point in the future. The Metal Gear stuff I'm really thrilled with, kind of how they look. They are kind of taking up a nice amount of space. They're kind of the eye-catching feature, and they're my favourite piece. Got some more stuff to add to that in some more regularly scheduled pickup videos, which are coming in due course. I will get back to it, I promise. This is the last one in the whole room series now, and it will be back to regular content. What else have I done here? So, my fridge. So I've brought that out. That used to be under my worktop, and it's just filled with, cans of pop and fizzy water and whatever else, the odd beer. But on top of it, I've got my collector's edition Titanfall statue. It's one of 30,000, I think. I've had him for ages, years and years. It came in an enormous box, which unfortunately I don't have anymore. Wish I'd kept that because it's way more valuable in a box. Surprisingly, still though, it seems to be fetching on eBay. List prices sort of in the region of £200 to £300. I have no intention of selling him. I love that game and I love that figure, and I've wanted to have it out on show, but the base is so wide that sometimes it's quite difficult to display it. So now having the opportunity to put him somewhere dedicated to him. That is working really well for me as well. As we pan round the room then, I did move the IKEA unit that used to be under the TV mount on the wall that's now the Billy's. That's got my Edge magazines in, some of my Nintendo bits and pieces, my handheld consoles, some Lego bits and bobs on top. And then behind that now, so the back of those cube units are now used just for a bit of light touch storage. I'm not going to include B-roll of that because it's super boring. But practical stuff that I've lost by removing the worktop. Solid Snake is now behind there. Tried him in a different couple of configurations. So if you spotted very briefly the shot earlier in the video of me panning around that corner and you could see the arcade cabinets, I had a move around. I didn't like how that was looking. Snake now faces into the room. It's caught me and my wife off guard a few times coming in, especially when the light's off. Makes you jump. I've also got a new Gears of War standee that I picked up recently via a seller in the Discord community that I'm part of. And I love Gears of War. It's my kind of second favourite franchise behind Metal Gear. So great to have that. And yeah, freaked me out when I realised that Gears of War 3 came out in 2011. How am I that old? And how is that game that old? But it makes sense. It was a 360 title, so it is that old. Tucked behind Snake then, we've got the arcade cabinets. So there's the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 cabinet, which has a series of Marvel games on. They're the ones that were on the PS4 and Switch Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection that was out recently. Those games, including Punisher, are all on that arcade cabinet, which is what stopped me pulling the trigger on buying a copy of that. I did think about it. I've also then got the Turtles arcade cabinet, which I think I've talked about loads of times on this channel before. And then my little retro corner is still alive and kicking with the GameCube, the PS2, the DVD player and the little Sony Trinitron. Unfortunately, my drum kit has been shoved up the corner for now, but I haven't been playing it, to be brutally honest, and it's probably just pending an admission from me that it needs to go in the loft or go somewhere else at some point soon. And I haven't really changed anything else about the desk area. I am sure this room will evolve again at some point. I need to get back to doing some streaming now that the room's all set up and see how my camera positioning works with me being down on the beanbag. Obviously there's the Switch 2 to come, so that's going to disrupt my modern console kind of area. And then and I think just in general I'm gonna just live in the space and play with it and see where it goes. But overall, genuinely super happy with it. It's achieved exactly what I wanted. And of course there's the workshop as well, which I'll take you into now for those who are still kind of interested. So if I just talk about the studio a little bit, again, I know that not everyone is interested in the workshop because it's not in really gaming, but I know a lot of people have been on the journey to see me build it out. So I'll just take you through and explain kind of what's in there now. So I'm really pleased with the space and it's broadly there. It still needs electrics putting through, so I haven't got any fixed lighting or power, but I have punched a hole in the back of the shed, anticipating that power cable coming in, and just fed through an extension lead for now. And protected that tube for outdoor weather purposes and sealed it all up. So it's a temporary solution until I can get my electrician in, who's a very hard man to pin down. But yeah, so if I break down the room for you, over kind of on the right hand side of the room, we've got my pre-existing kind of mobile workbench. I've had that for a while. I made it on wheels so I could move it around, and then stuck it in a shed that you couldn't move it in because it was far too small. So it's nice to have that now a bit more mobile. It's still a bit cluttered up that corner. There's a lot of the excess building materials from insulating the room, so lots of foam board and lots of plywood. I've kept a lot of it because I'm hoping that they'll come in useful for terrain making or model making in the future. So I've kept them. I think I might find that they'll sit there for 6, 12, 18 months and then I'll go, these aren't getting used, I should probably chuck these away. But we'll see. They're there for now. I got one of the little IKEA shelves up on that far side as well that I mentioned earlier in the video that I picked up at IKEA in the reduced area. And then I've got my Ryobi kind of metal wall cabinet, which has got all my Ryobi gear organised in it, which I picked up on an Amazon Black Friday while I was building the workshop. So I'm really pleased with that area. That's kind of the heavier duty construction space. On the workbench under the shelves are all of my kind of woodworking tools and bits and pieces. So that's kind of the mucky corner. Over on the left then is the workbench that I moved from this room, from the games room. It's just short of 3 meters in length. Underneath it are much of the same things that were under it before, including my 3D printers for the time being, bunch of things that need organising and sorting. Again, I haven't spent huge amounts of time doing that until I've kind of lived in that space a bit more. On top are, again, all of my model painting bits and pieces, which I'm really looking forward to getting out there and doing more with. And then I've left a nice big space on that worktop for my new 3D printer, which I've ordered. I've ordered, for those who care about this thing, the Bamboo Labs P1S and a bunch of filament, as well as their AMS, which is the automatic spool feeder. I'm not sure what the actual AMS stands for. It's probably something really, really obvious. So that's coming next week. So really excited to start using that space for crafting, 3D printing, bigger projects. I was at Maker Central this week with my daughter over the weekend, and it was brilliant and really inspiring to see all the crazy stuff that people do in the model making space, but specifically with 3D printing. I very nearly dropped £150 on this incredible Helldivers helmet that someone had made, and then I thought, well, why? I could potentially make one of those. So if I do decide to make anything gaming adjacent and you'd like to see it, let me know. I am a bit mindful of how badly these workshop videos have killed the algorithm for me, but we'll see. I might well do it if you're interested. I think if it's gaming related, hopefully you'll still find it interesting. And then if we just spin round in the room then to the sort of the final part of the room that I've done anything with, and under the windows, it occurred to me that there was a degree of wall space there because of where the doors were that I wasn't really going to be able to use for anything storage related, and I didn't really want to. I want to keep as much natural light as possible. And actually I thought these two really nice big windows into our garden, and we've only got a small and modest garden, but we've filled it with kind of plant life and you know, bits and pieces, and when the kids are out in the sunshine, it's nice to be able to watch them. And I've lost that from my office because of where the where the shed is. So we have put I made two collapsible shelves basically, or worktops. So they're just using some of the plywood that was left over from the build and some hinges from Amazon, which have got these little clips on that allow you to drop the shelves down. So for the purpose of this video, I'm showing you one up and one down so you can see the difference. But I've just put two stools there that were kindly gifted to me by a friend a couple of years ago actually. So thanks Dave if you're watching. They're finally getting some proper use and I'm thrilled. So those are my kind of little alternative home working desk spots, his and hers, if you like, for me and my other half. But also they're really good just for surfaces that we can do things on in that space. If I need somewhere to put a piece of equipment or a model while it's drying, or just some extra worktop space, they'll work really nicely for that too. As I said, not a huge amount more to do in that space really. I'd like to get the lighting and the electric sorted as and when, but I've now got power in there temporarily, and the room is serving its purpose. It's going to be a fantastic space to kind of craft and make and just go and chill out. I did put a small 28-inch 4K monitor that I've had for a long time. It's moved around rooms with me over the years. I popped that in there with an Apple TV that had come out of another room in the house and was also redundant. So I have got the ability to kind of play content in there, or watch a show, throw some YouTube up while I'm working, as well as just play music on the little HomePod Mini that I've also popped in there. So it's also enabled for that purpose. So yeah, I'm really, really thrilled with the space. Overall, it's been a fantastic end result, I suppose, is the best way to put it. Lots and lots of work, lots of hard work, weeks and weeks of hard work, and at times I was fed up with it. You'll have seen that through the content. But as always with these things, there's that midpoint where the mess feels like you wish you'd never started. There was definitely points where I thought, I wish I'd not done this. Right back to kind of laying the slabs and breaking down all the muck that I had to do in the first video, or before the first video in fact, and then building out the shed, which was a lot of fun. But once it was built, the next few weeks or months felt quite daunting. Things I'd never done before: insulating, vapor barriers, plywood, painting. I've painted before, but the other stuff I'd never done before. And yeah, is it perfect? No. Have I learned a lot? Absolutely. And I'm sure there'll be things I'll continue to do to modify and improve that space over time. But as it is for now, it's absolutely what I hoped it would be. This room's exceeded my expectations. I absolutely love it, and I can't wait to spend some time in here doing some proper gaming, doing some streaming as well, and just enjoying all of that hard work. And then having the eternal problem of no doubt buying more and more and adding to these shelves. I've got a whole pile of things that have been stacking up over the last few weeks and months, waiting for pickup videos. So don't be surprised if a pickup video or two is coming in the next few weeks. I've got lots to show you that I'm adding to the room, and I've kept it all hidden. I haven't put any of it out, so I'm itching to kind of explore these pieces and put them on shelves and display them. But I'll leave you here. This has already been another fairly long video, although not as bad as the last one, I hope. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the content. I hope you've enjoyed seeing the changes and then looking at the reveal as I've shared it here at the end. Love to know your thoughts down below. What's worked well for you? What things do you like? What would you change? You know, please be kind. But I am interested in your opinions and your thoughts. You know, if you haven't already, like and subscribe. Help me boost the channel. We're still looking for that elusive 500 subs. I'm just short by about 30 now. So if you can help me with that push or share this with people that you know would find this content interesting, then I'd be really appreciative of that too. But that's it. I'll leave you for now. Hopefully you've enjoyed, like I said, seeing the reveal and the progress as the stream has developed, and there'll be many more videos, I'm sure, like this over the years, you know, as we continue to refine and add to this space. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.